Willie D. Live.
They got Diddy on a RICO charge, and so far he's the only person that's being prosecuted for these RICO
They've given
charges.
immunity to some people.
Okay, so they've given immunity to everybody because right now he's the only person being prosecuted on RICO charges. But one of the other people who was involved every step of the way, at least most of the steps of the way for the freak off parties, was Cassie. Does Cassie have any culpability here?
I think that she probably had some in the procuring of male sex workers. I think she was, but I think they are appropriately treating her as a victim. I think that he is. I mean, look, I think Diddy is an incredibly charismatic person, a strong personality, and willing to engage in crime. I think I think as we hear more stories and, the way there are stories that the public aren't aware of, like the relationship between Sean and other artists that worked for him, and whether or not there was discord, whether or not, him and, Biggie, it's an onion that I think if you peel back, you're going to see worse and worse conduct on Sean Combs' part, and that has left a lot of people, he's the one that benefited the most off other people's art, right? I think he's a bad guy. I don't think that they're going to, I think they've got a difficult road. I still think they're going to get the conviction. I don't know. I think that you had one of his, who testified last week? You had an assistant of his testify with full immunity, and I think we're going to hear more testimony. They said that they expect the trial to last 8 weeks, and we're just, a week and a half into it?
No, this is, we're going into the third week.
Okay. That's right. So 2 full weeks, and we start on Tuesday. I don't know. I think it's interesting. But I think they'll do like Weinstein, and whether they win or lose here, they'll charge him with something else somewhere else, another part of the country, and keep coming at him because they want him. And that's the thing with the government. When they decide they want somebody, they'll typically get you,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Charles Adams, a.k.a. Big Angry. You know what? That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. Man, how did you come up with the name Big Angry, or did somebody give you that?
So when I was a young policeman, there was a dispatcher, Brian Corbell, who called me Big Ad, right?
Big what?
Big Ad.
Big Ad.
My name's Adams, and I was, I'm 6'8", probably 6'7" now, shrunk a bit, lost all my hair, got fat, but and it just kind of morphed from that, got a little fussy. Big fussy, big angry,
But do you remember the moment the Big Angry became
it was just,
your moniker?
I think
did somebody call you Big Angry? Or?
Yeah. Somebody called me Big Angry joking, and it just kind of revolved from that.
Your name is Big Ad. They need to call you Big Angry.
Right. That kind of stuff, right?
And
and I'm not particularly an angry guy, but it's a great marketing tool. Having a nickname helps in the legal world.
But if I'm being defended by somebody, I want the Big Angry guy to defend me.
What you want, whether it's a guy or a woman, is someone that really, like, there were years where I just lived the law, right? Like I fucking lived it, and I loved it, and that's kind of why. Unfortunately, I got these other businesses making money now. So I really am limited my practice to just personal injury stuff, and I've got partners in that. But it's, you just want, we got so many apathetic people. Like you want an attorney and a criminal defense attorney that inspires you and actually believes in your shit. And there are some great ones, right? And then there are more mediocre ones that are just taking a check and just trying to plead you out. But yeah, and the angry guy is often, if they're angry for you, but.
But you're one of the best at doing that, man. That litigation is something different. Like all lawyers are not created equal.
No.
And litigators, that's an entire different lane, and it is to be respected.
Yeah, a lot of lawyers are awful people, right? I don't want to suggest that there are a bunch of saints in the practice, but you are to be willing to be confidently willing and able to get in front of a box of jurors and convince them oftentimes not to believe their lying eyes. You're selling them bullshit, and to be successful in it is rare, right? And I went on a tear in the late 2000s where I just won a bunch of trials, some of them that I shouldn't have won. And it's it's everybody's got their own shtick, and for a long time I was really into it. Like, I enjoyed doing it. I was always very aware of client outcomes. So you have some attorneys that just want to try cases for the thrill of trying a case. I would always try to resolve it without a trial if possible, right? I'd always try to achieve the outcome that I thought was right for my client, or fair, or great for my client and not fair, without the trial. But you got to be into that shit. And, there was a period in my life when I was into it. I think I'm kind of over it, but that was then.
That's that. On to the next. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Adams. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. A lot of fun.
No more talk. Yeah. All right. Good stuff.